Keep calm and carry on. I'm living that message today. I was thinking about the first time that I was really remembering that I had to be calm on behalf of myself and everyone else. And it was at a time when I went river rafting with a very close friend of mine, my bestie from college. And I had my children with me, and she had her children with her. And we were rafting down the Rogue River, and it was at a level 6, which is not really great because that means that the turns and the jumps and the falls are pretty deep. So we were flying down this river. It was fun. We are having a good time. But unfortunately, the river got a little wild and our boat wrapped on a rock, which means that it landed up the side like this, sideways, and wouldn't move with the flow. I was in what was called the food boat. It was carrying lots of things. There were just 3 people in it. It was the cook and myself, my son Mateo, and another woman who happened to be pregnant. So it was supposed to be the slow boat and the easy boat. And instead, it was the one that got wrapped on a rock. So there we were hanging off the side of a rock. The river is rushing around us in every direction. We're all just holding on to the top of it to make sure we don't fall into the river. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, my son's here. This woman's here. I have to remain calm. And so I just started to breathe and I said, what's the plan? And they said, we'll just hold on. They will come and rescue us. They will be coming across in kayaks and there'll be a rescue squad that comes. Didn't know how long that was going to take. So I began to sing, put your hand in the hand of the man to still the waters. So I was singing that out and people could hear it across the river, even with all the noise. So Mateo could hear it. And I just kept looking in his eyes, singing that song. And here was my son, who was then only 8 years old, holding on literally for dear life. So the kayaks make it across and the kayaks are picking us up one at a time. So of course I want my son to go first. And they say, okay, he needs to let go of the boat and hold on to the rock. Now the rock is a huge boulder, which is covered with moss. So you can imagine how slippery that is. As a mother, I'm thinking this doesn't seem like a great plan. Stay calm, follow the instructions. So I say, Mateo, go ahead, let go. I'm going to hold on to one of your hands while you get a grip on this rock and you hold on to it. Here's my baby, literally, like a little lizard or something, just smacked onto this rock, holding on for dear life. And the kayakers are maneuvering so they can get him and get him into the boat. So they get him into the boat. And I see him being carried across with ropes on either side of the river and this kayak being guided through this raging river to get to another side. He makes it there. So then it's my turn. I get into a boat and the woman who is pregnant is behind me in the boat. They put 2 of us in. This time they were carrying an empty one and told us to get into this one. And so I'm rowing and they're saying, downstream, upstream, giving me all these instructions. And I'm screaming, left or right, left or right. I can't, follow that kind of instruction when it's this kind of stressful situation. So I'm trying to remain calm, but I say left or right. They tell me left paddle, right paddle. So I do it. We make it to the other side. The woman, by the way, is screaming the entire time, screaming in my ear the entire time. I'm going to die. I have my baby. I'm screaming, 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 screaming. I'm saying, so at some point I actually did scream, shut up. I think I did do that because I couldn't hear the instructions given to me. It was quite a tense time. I land with the boat with the woman. She gets off. She's taken care of. And I'm, paying attention to, what's going on with her. And I see my child over there just shivering by himself, having survived this thing. And I go over and embrace him. And I have to say, I give Mateo his propers because the next day he was in a kayak on his own, going down a lazy part of the river, feeling fine. So the resilience of youth, yes. So I was calm. And when we got to the campfire with all the stories of everyone who had different situations, I again sang in the circle. And I remember my friend Julie saying, I had no idea you could be so calm in this kind of situation. But I found that was a little bit of my superpower, is that when things were really intense, I could get calm. And that was the way that I could respond to it. So keeping calm and carrying on, I think about all the things that are brought to us in life that come into our experience and how we respond to it. What do we do with it? Because the stress, the adrenaline, the amygdala being woken up all the time, is part of what wears our bodies down. Lisa talked about the idea of healing being consciousness first, and then it takes a while for the body to catch up. And the same thing is when we use our minds in stressful ways, the body eventually remembers and suffers in some ways. So, as much as we can, remaining calm. Now, we may not be on a river and wrapped on a rock, but it sometimes feels like that in our life. There are things that happen. Jane and I missed 2 flights because they were canceled, and we're late leaving Italy to get here, and we were closing on our house, and things were happening. So it was a lot. And this morning, Jane was feeling really like it was too much. There was too much, and she had such a headache, right? So we had to get to a place of calm about it. Whatever will be, letting it go. So in our own lives, we can do that. But what about the world? What do we do about the world? Can we remain calm and carry on in spite of all the things that we notice are happening around us? In spite of the world not complying with the peace that's within us in some ways? We have to remain calm so that we are a place where people can go to find that calm resonance instead of the vitriol and the violence and the things that are happening and the otherness and the fighting. If we can remain calm in the face of all that, we're being a gift to the world. How do we remain calm amidst everything that's happening in our lives, in other lives, around us, above us, and below us? Well, the very first thing is gratitude. Whatever you can be grateful for in any moment is going to allow you to calm that nervous system. I can be grateful for my breath. I can be grateful that I'm here. I can be grateful that in spite of a flat tire and missed flights, I'm still here with you. It's amazing. I can be grateful. I can find something to be grateful for. And then the breath, the beautiful breath, the coherent breath that we did in meditation, breathing in for 5 and holding for 5 and out for 5, breathing the prana breath of yoga, breathing as we do qigong with Sifu Helen Yi. Breathing resets the nervous system and allows us to be calm. But sometimes we forget to use these tools. We forget that we have these tools. It seems so simple to remind you and to remind me about gratitude, about breath, but we forget. Breathe when things seem too much or stressful. We have meditation. We just did meditation. Going into that space within us, being aware of that spaciousness within us, and allowing that to fill us and allowing that to be the place from which we respond. Meditation. We have prayer. The idea of listening in and allowing and putting an idea into motion from our heart and mind connection, reminding ourselves of our alignment with the source of life. We pray to remember. We pray to know what is. We pray to be that which is the solution to anything that we're facing. We pray to know. We have gratitude, breath, movement like qigong, movement like yoga with breath. We have prayer. And we have water. We know that our body is made up of primarily water and fluid. And water is an amazing substance. A few weeks ago, my blood pressure was spiking and was higher than it should be. And I thought, we need to use the tools. So I did coherent breathing for 5 minutes in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. I drank a glass of water every hour, and it settled right back down into its normal rhythm. Oxygen and water. Sometimes the solutions are the simplest ones for us to stay calm. What about this idea of carrying on? Sometimes we need to rest and not carry on. Sometimes we need to rest and wait and hold and pause. But sometimes we need to carry on. We need to carry on behalf of someone that we're caring for. We need to carry on behalf of our work sometimes. We need to carry on in order to remind ourselves that no matter what is happening, I can put one foot in front of the other and I can continue to give and receive and be part of this life. So we focus on remaining calm. And does remaining calm mean that we don't have frustration, anger arise? It arises. We have frustration, we have anger, we have sadness, we have grief, we have all of that. And underneath it is this current of knowing that we're held in something greater, and therefore we can relax and remain calm. One of the scriptures that I like after studying the Bible when my mother was a Jehovah Witness, it was one of the benefits of that. It was a little bit stringent of a teaching, and I didn't find it serving the rest of my life. But studying some of the scriptures was actually really helpful. And one of the ones I loved is the parable of the lilies of the field. Consider the lilies of the field. And why are you anxious about clothing? Consider the lilies, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. Yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed as one of these. This idea that we are cared for, taken care of, our needs are met by the greater source of life that created us out of itself. And therefore, everything that we need is within it. So remind ourselves that, like the lilies of the field, we are cared for. And remind ourselves that this idea of the law of love is our shepherd, and it gives us all that we need. I also love this thought about having the faith of a mustard seed and being able to move mountains, because we're not required to have this faith that's so big and all consuming that we're always in it and we never forget. Just a little faith in knowing what we're actually made of can help us remain calm, can help us to carry on and continue to contribute to the life that we're in and the constellation that we share with other people. So I offer you this idea for all of us. Let us be calm and carry on. Namaste.